Name is Junior Urias with Up and Smoke Barbecue.
Junior Urias on the line with us, BBQ champion. Is that right? Now you're a champion in some different competitions. I want to ask you about how you got into barbecue, and then if you want to transition that into, I know ahead of time. So spoiler alert, folks. He is a BBQ Pitmaster champion. So start with the beginning of how you got into barbecue and transition into kind of some accolades you've gotten along the way.
Sure. I started at a young age. I loved cooking and stuff for people. I used to go to barbecue camps in which we would cook for like 600 people a week long every year, and we would do it for 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And everything was done over campfires. There was no electricity, no ovens, no nothing like that. The coffee was cooked over coals, and we used a lot of Dutch ovens. And anyway, that's kind of where we started. I started going back when I was at least 12 years old, and at least 30 years we did that. And that's kind of where my barbecue expedition started. Then I started doing cook-offs because I enjoyed the sport, and people always told me that that I was good at it. So I ended up continuing the barbecue competition. I started traveling all over, Texas, and then all over the entire United States. And we ended up on BBQ Pitmasters. We were chosen as one of the teams for BBQ Pitmasters. We went and did the BBQ Pitmasters and won the Texas Pitmaster Championship.
Wait, you were on Pitmasters, that show that I watch when I go in the hotels and that sort of thing on cable? That show, BBQ Pitmasters, the reality show?
Absolutely. The show was on Destination America, and it is BBQ Pitmasters. And yeah, absolutely, we were on it. It still boggles my mind that we're on it, and we did good. And it's just grown my business by far.
I chuckled because I wrote down Myron Mixon, Pitmasters, I like it is what I got down in my notes. And the reason I say that is I got rid of my television in 2007, got rid of my landline in 1997. So I've been like an early adapter to new technologies, that sort of thing. And so when I go on vacation or travel for business, I get into hotel rooms, and that's really where I get my television fixing and that sort of thing. And I stumbled upon this Pitmasters show. And I got to tell you, it was one of my favorite shows because I love the barbecue, and I love the, like the diners, drive-ins, and dives Food Network thing. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of that because you have each person really has their own flavor and their own style and their own chemistry, if you will, when it comes to their different meats and everything. So talk to me a little bit about that Pitmasters experience. What did you cook? What were your sides? Did you get insulted by Myron Mixon? Come on now, to share it.
It's funny, Jason. We were at San Antonio, Texas, at another cook-off. This was on the Friday night. We had my trailer set up. We're already cooking for the competition, and I got a call. The call was from the BBQ Pitmasters audition person, and they had asked me if I wanted to be on the show, that I needed to be in Florida by Sunday. So I was like, this Sunday? And he goes, yes, this Sunday. Can you make it? I said, give me your number. I'll call you right back. So the first thing I did was I called several people in Florida. It's going to be based in Florida. So I was thinking, wow, I can't really get my trailer and everything connected right now and hit Florida to make it on time. Well, we had we're doing an actual cook-off. So we had, you can only imagine all the stuff spread out, and we were just getting ready for the cook-off. So I said, all right. I contacted one of my good friends, Blake, in Florida. I knew he was in Florida. I just didn't know how close or where in Florida. So I contacted him. He says, I asked him, hey, dude, I'm going to be on BBQ Pitmasters. I need to use your smoker. He has a smoker that I used at the time. So, anyways, I asked him, how far are you from where we're going to film. He goes, we're about 4 hours. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you bring me the pit by Sunday? I need it Saturday evening. Can you have it there for me? And he said, yeah, I'll make it happen. So that's how that got started. And then, I flew in from San Antonio to Florida. Me and my buddy that helped me out that weekend, his name's Wade McBee. And, we flew in with just a couple of bags and some seasonings. And we ended up winning BBQ Pitmasters, the Texas episode. And then, Myron did give me a lot of help. He was making fun of my holding on in with just a bag of seasonings and some knives, and that's it, and a few clothes. And what was cool was there was a steak challenge. So the steak challenge consisted of it's funny, I went to Walmart before the entire cook-off. I went to Walmart to pick up a grill because I thought, man, you know what, we might need the grill for the quick challenge. So I ended up going to Walmart. I picked up a $20 grill. So now a good thing that I say now is, I basically cooked a $50,000 ribeye on a $20 grill. So, that's one of my highlights of the entire show was cooking a $20 steak a $50,000 steak on a $20 grill.
Oh, what a great story. What a great story, I tell you. I want to get to the oil and gas connection in just a second because you've got an interesting story to tell when it comes to your connection with oil and gas. And also, I want to talk about some barbecue overview: wood, temperature, time, smoke, water, that sort of thing. Junior Urias on the line with us up in Smoke Barbecue, a Pitmaster champion. And I wrote down primitive into technology as you were kind of talking, answering some of the questions. And the reason I did that was when I first got started in the media, I started, back in, say, the radio days when they actually cut tape and splice together things to do edits. And in the magazine world when I was in that as well, we had light boards and we would use X-Acto knives and that sort of thing. And it was a very primitive way to do the media. And, I did that for a few years. And then when we transitioned into the digital age, it really gave me an appreciation how to use the digital technology a little bit different, I think, than a lot of people. Did you find that going to the barbecue camp and having those primitive barbecue smoke fire elements has really influenced your overall barbecue skills? Yeah,
it really has. I think, a lot of people are used to just smoking and that's all they know how to do. I think for me, grilling was a big part of my upbringing and my style of cooking. I think it's a unique way of doing things. I include my grilling also with the smoking. It's a lot of stuff that a lot of regular pitmasters can't do, and I incorporate both. I think it's a big leap for me to be able to use both, skills. I think they're both different skills, and I think I've mastered them pretty well. So now, like you said, I use them together, and it just makes me a unique individual out there in the cooking world.
And the grilling world has gotten pretty technological based too, but at the end of the day, we're talking it's still time and temperature, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. Time and temperature and the custom meats and stuff like that.
Let's talk a little bit about barbecue itself. What style do you do? I mean, a lot of people they say their style is the best, and I always say, well, what style works for you?
Well, when you talk about styles, there's always the Texas style, there's the Memphis style, there's the Kansas City style. Even California's got its own style. But, over the years, like I was saying, I've been to cook-offs and 2 or 3 different organizations all over the United States and picked up each trait of each organization, and I kind of incorporated it all into one. And using my unique style, I use it. I really don't have a Texas style, really, so to speak. So, I think that makes it more universal for me and kind of unique for me to be able to use all the different styles and put it together.
Do you have a standard type of wood? Do you use a charcoal?
Well, it all depends when we're cooking, Jason, but the majority of the time we use pecan and mesquite when I do my briskets. When we do steaks, we use some lump charcoal and also mesquite. When I do pork, I sometimes like using fruit wood with charcoal. I'll use fruit wood, being peach and sometimes cherry. I think it imparts a good flavor in the pork. When we do ribs also, I'll use, some pecan and some peach. Or any fruit wood will work good with pork. So that's kind of the way we do it and the style that I use.
How about when it comes to time and temperature? Are you low and slow, or do you like to put a little heat and rush to it?
Well, once again, I impart both techniques into the way I cook things. Of course, the brisket, I like doing low and slow. Ribs, I use two methods. I do the low and slow, and then I go to hot and fast to finish it off. Even on steaks, I like to do them hot and fast, and I slow down the temperature, and I finish them off to a good internal medium well. It just really depends on the meat that I'm cooking and the style that I'm doing it for. Grilling versus smoking. There's a lot of ways of doing it, but for the most part, that's the way I keep it.
Do you got any opinions on marinades and dry rubs before, after, saucing it before and after, and spraying it with apple juice, those sort of things? The enhancers, if you will. Do you got any opinion or comments when it comes to those?
There's two different ways of doing it. There's the cook-off way of doing it, and then there's the restaurant style, which I use them both. For cook-offs, of course, you want to impart the most flavor into the meat. Not only just the flavor, but different flavors. So, for example, on ribs, what I like doing is I'll brine my ribs the night before. After I got them trimmed, I'll use a salt, water, and vinegar brine for my ribs. So I'll soak them overnight, and then that morning I'll prep it. I'll get my seasonings and stuff like that out, and we do the cook. So, you're wanting to add multiple flavors to the meat as much as you can, just for the judges and stuff like that. But, for my restaurant, I try to keep it simple. Simple is sometimes the best. And quite honestly, I would eat my restaurant rib over my cook-off rib any day.
How about when it comes to sides? Do you have a signature side? Do you have? Does it vary on the seasonal part of things? Both maybe, when you're doing a backyard barbecue, what do you recommend? Or maybe when you're doing a catering, or maybe during a competition? How about talk to me about sides?
Yeah, there's when we do, it's really on the catering side when we do sides. We normally do like a potato salad. That's a mustard-based potato salad. We do coleslaw, a sweet slaw with a little bit of heat. And then we also do Junior's famous beans. We do some pinto beans. We soak them overnight. And then we add some jalapeno and some of our in-house made sausage with some onion. And we just let that just sit and slow cook for about 2-3 hours. And wow, it's just amazing. But those are some of the sides that we do currently.
How about sauce? Do you make your own sauce?
We make our own sauce for my catering business. We make our own sauce. We make it fresh. We make it daily. It's a vinegar and tomato-based sauce, with a little bit of heat. Once again, I try to impart a lot of the flavors from Kansas City, some of the Carolina because of the vinegars, and then of course the Texas with the spice. So I incorporate all of them to come up with a unique sauce, unique to us and to our business. And it accommodates our brisket, our ribs, and our sausages, and it just goes very well with everything we cook.
BBQ Pitmaster champion Junior Urias on the line with us, talking about barbecue and tips and a few other items to note. And now we're going to transition into the world of barbecue and oil and gas, because those two go together so well. I mean, you've got guys at drill sites, grilling, and then you've got big company grill sessions and even community ones. Crude. I was thinking about the Bakken barbecue, for example. Talk to me a little bit about your connection when it comes to oil and gas and kind of the whole barbecue connection generally with oil and gas as well.
Sure. Like I said, I started cooking in competitions and stuff like that, and I think it's brought me to where I'm at today in my catering business. I've created the craft barbecue, what we call it, and, a lot of the customers love it. The oil and gas in my area is real big. We're here in Midland, Texas, and it is oil and gas. That's all it is. We are a big company as far as catering. We cater to all the majority of the big oil field names, and we're very known for a quality, high catering business that does very well with our barbecues and steaks and stuff like that. It's honestly built my business to where it is now. The oil field and the oil field companies around this area has been good to me, and we've been good to them. So, I think, that's where I'm at now as far as moving on to the restaurant. That's how we're getting it built, and we're really doing it because, there's a lot of companies and stuff that want us to go ahead and build a restaurant, and we're doing it. So I think it's a huge impact, for us to be part of the oil business, oil and gas in this area, and, it's brought my business to where it is today.
Does the oil and gas industry ever ask for anything off menu, I guess, or do they pretty much just do the regular catering menu?
Absolutely, we do. We do the traditional, our brisket ribs, chicken, sausage. We do that as a normal catering, I would call it. We also do steaks. We don't do steaks for everyone, but if they really want us to do steaks, we do steaks. We do 1.5-inch ribeyes, and I'm telling you, they just come out phenomenal. They're just as good as my barbecue. Our recipes are good, so we do steaks also, steaks and shrimp. And when we do corporate companies parties, we do. Sometimes we get the request to do whole hogs, so we also do whole hogs. That's a big request that we get, and I think that might be a little. I think that's about where we limit it, because we want to keep everything. We just don't want to. Sometimes we get asked to do Mexican food and stuff like that, but we really try to stick with our barbecue and our whole hogs and our traditional menu and steaks.
How about outside of oil and gas? Restaurants you mentioned. Also, I wrote down sauces. Are you distributing sauces anywhere? And what, I guess, is your restaurant in operation now? Is it being constructed? Talk to me about your restaurant and sauces.
Well, the sauces, I've created a seasoning called Junior's Rub for Grub. It's been on the market for over 10 years. I created it I came across for my cook-offs. So I created it, and now that's what created my sauce as well. So, our seasoning's been used by teams all over the United States, and then now some in foreign countries are using it, and they're winning with it on a daily basis. So, really, honestly, my business became created because of my seasonings. That's how I started my entire business. So, Junior's Rub for Grub is a big impact to my business, and it's kind of how it was started. So we got that going, and then we're currently building a restaurant right now, Jason. We got the walls up. It's a 2,500 square foot building. We're gonna make our craft barbecue, and occasionally I think we're gonna do a steak night. So that's kind of where we're at right now at this point, and we're looking for late July to open up here in Midland, Texas.
Well, exciting. You got some new endeavors, and you got, sounds like you'll have a new distribution location for some of your old endeavors. All right. I like to give guests final thoughts to let the conversation go whatever direction they want. If they want to reiterate something, if they want to bring up something that we didn't talk about, the floor is yours, Junior Urias, Up and Smoke Barbecue.
I think being here in Midland, Texas is going to be a good deal for us. It already has been, like I said, we built our business from nothing. We started from nothing. We are where we're at because of the business here in Midland. We've created a good clientele with the biggest names in the oil and gas industry. So, I'm excited for our future in Midland, and we will see how any other future cookouts might go as well. At the moment, right now, we're just going to be focused with the restaurant. We're going to try to get it going real good, and that's what I'm looking forward to right as we speak. And for the next couple of years, that's what we want to keep on pushing. So we'll see how it goes.